Hello! Today I wanted to share with you the simplest and most flexible tool that I use in my daily practice as a speech and language therapist. You can use it for all sorts of things, to help very young children who are learning to talk, for my older children who are improving their speech clarity, and even to help children to learn new vocabulary and recall it. And for this I thought I needed a bit of big space. So I'm not sure if you caught that, but what I was saying was big gestures. There are three particular favourite reasons why I love using gestures in my work to support speech, language and communication skills, and there's kind of a bonus fourth as well, so we'll just see if I fit that in by the end of this video. So let's start with the very young children. Using gesture is a fantastic bridge towards using two words together. Parents will often say to me, oh, my child's using lots of single words but they're not starting to put them together. And gesture is a really great bridge towards that. Think of times when your young child might say mummy and they're doing that big up. So they haven't said up yet, but they've got that mummy up with the gesture. So that's a bridge. Another example might be car. So they're gesturing where, but saying car. Car. So they're moving towards saying, where's car? Gesture can also help with speech clarity. Because when we're using gestures, we automatically slow down and emphasize those key words. And thirdly, gestures help children with vocabulary acquisition. So when I'm helping a child to learn a new word, I will encourage them to think about what gesture or action they might naturally use so that they can help kind of have a bit of kinesthetic learning as part of their new vocabulary. So if it's a word like elephant, we can talk about the number of syllables in the word and we might come up with a gesture like elephant or elephant or whatever they want to come up with, because there's no right or wrong with gestures. It's not a prescribed sign language, it's just being really conscious of how we can use gestures and actions with our hands to help us to learn new words and also to help us remember words. So we can use these gestures to then help prompt a child if they're thinking about that new word. And I also notice children and young adults start to use these actions to cue themselves in with a word that is difficult for them to learn or they're just starting to use themselves. So vocabulary acquisition for both learning and then recalling later. Do you think I can get my last point in before the sun sets? I promised you a fourth kind of bonus reason why gesture is so useful, and really gesture is useful because it's something that we can all join in with. So in a class or in a group of learners, if we all have some kind of agreed actions or gestures for certain concepts or things that we're focusing on, then it's a great way for us all to join in and show our thinking and learning together without all chiming in, piping up and shouting all at once. I'm not talking any gestures, I'm talking big gestures. So not gestures that just start at the wrist, but gestures that start at the shoulder. And this is something that someone had to teach me and I had to learn to get comfortable with. The bigger we make our gestures, the more definite they are, the more that they can really help a child. It's something that we're consciously, actively doing together to promote speech, language and communication. So I challenge you this week to think about how you use gestures. Think about whether there's any potential to use them more deliberately or consciously, or talk with your older child about how you use gestures. Notice how your very young child is using gestures to supplement their simple words, and have a think about it and let me know what you noticed in the comments below. I'll see you later.